What is going on, everybody? Welcome to yet another episode of Pickin Corners, your favorite Friday night show. Even though I'm taping this one a little earlier than normal because going away to Atlantic City with my younger brother, taking him there for the first time this weekend, I'm going to stop by the actual Caesars Sportsbook, which we've mentioned in the past when we're building some of those same game parlays. I've broken down which bets you can do on which sites. And if you remember, Caesars allows the same gamers where you can take one player from each team to register a point. They are somewhat limited, but they at least allow you to add player points to totals and money lines. So maybe tonight I'm going to go with the little Carolina Hurricanes with Andrei Svechnikov. Do they let you print that in person? Am I allowed to? This is going to be interesting. Maybe I'll recap the experience for you next week. I'll let you know how that went. But anyway, people ask me, Andy, how does this Pickin Corners show differ from your regular Monday to Friday daily picks? Well, first of all, I get to go off on little tangents because this is a longer form show, usually around like 30 minutes long. And then also, I can show you many times I mentioned when I tape the Monday through Friday videos, the night before, many times the player props and the alt player props, they're not available till the following day, usually like a couple hours after I've posted the video. I usually post the video first thing in the morning. And then around then, like right around that time is when the alt shots on goal, the alt player points, like when I do those ruckus same game over parlays and I say, oh, 2 points for this guy, 1 point for that guy. That's not available the night before. So at least when I film this video, I can show you what one of those look like. And I can go through all the weekend picks. And then I think now the main objective, the main point of this show is to field some questions from the Patreon people, the people who, they're the Green Bay Packers minority owners of this show until I sell the show for a massive amount of money and then they get nothing. I'm not selling. Look at the views. Look at the sponsors. Is this brought to you by Nestle Quick? No. But I call the people on the Patreon the minority owners, like the Green Bay Packers fans, where they feel more involved. And you can feel more involved by subscribing to that at patreon.com/Andy Francess. My God, Andy, you going to promote that here? Well, there's nothing else to promote. So at least allow me to promote my own stuff. Thank you very much. Happy that you guys are on my YouTube channel. By the way, I don't put out spam videos and a ton of garbage. So if you can, like, comment, subscribe, click the bell. I call that the Dunkin' Donuts, by the way. When I was younger, I would just go into Dunkin' Donuts, like, crusty in the morning. A guy who kind of a large coffee, and they just go, donuts, bagels, muffins, without even saying, like a robot, donuts, bagels, muffins. What? No, like, comment, subscribe, call your dad, share it with someone. If you can do those things, I'd appreciate it because then it suggests the video to more people. Somebody told me that the notifications bell, I mean, it's a great lie if he lied to me, actually helps the algorithm even further. And when I ask people to do that, I got an extra 1,500 views on the video after that. So maybe that random person was onto something. And by the way, I'm sorry if I forget names. You guys, I've been on dates. I remember an obscure story that somebody told me. They told me about, like, oh my God, and then my second year of college, we were walking home from this, but I'll remember the name of the place and all the minute details. Ask me your name. Have no clue. So random things like names, they just don't stay in here. But all little details like the clenched ass cheeks theory in game 6 or 7 of the NHL playoffs. And all new viewers of the show, you better get familiar with that. Not now, just store it for April. The clenched ass cheeks theory. Can't tell you how many people benefited off that in previous playoff years. What is the clenched? We got plenty of time. Don't clench the ass cheeks yet. We got plenty of same game ruckus over parlays to build because we'll never be building those during the playoffs. And the rock means ever. I'm adamant about a no over playoff stance, but we'll get to all that stuff down the line. One of the questions I was asked this week was, are you ever going to talk about futures? A show like this allows me the opportunity. We opened up the first episode of this when I was just kind of winging it. I talked about some season-long props, some win totals that I liked, some playoff, will you make it, will you not make it that I like. So I'll revisit that. I'll see some opportunities in there. You guys know one of them. I've mentioned one or two of them on the daily show, but we'll bring up some prices and talk a little bit about that. And then also, one of the other questions, this one I really don't have an answer for. Somebody said, "Could you talk about bankroll management and stuff like that?" Guys, have you watched this? If I'm allowing people to build same game and I'm giving people the green light to build parlays that any analytically driven person will say, don't do that. Don't do that if you want to live a normal life. Then I'm not the right person to ask for that. I'm feeding wolves out here. But if you want to, and I really say this because this was one of the best things that, they did to me, was at least inform me of, if you can be meticulous about what you're doing, and your bankroll, and how much you have this, and that's a bunker odd shopper premium question. It really is. And it's why I'm still, me and them are holding on to each other. We haven't cut ties or anything like that. I'm still a semi part of them. They're still a semi part of me, just like all you Green Bay Packer minority owners. And if you want, you go over there and you have access to all the pro bettors over there. And they'll tell you how to do things like bankroll management. That's not an Andy thing. It really isn't. That's not me. I'll kind of burn money like the Joker. I'm in this for entertainment and to make things that will, I don't know, last somewhat. I just want to have somewhat of my dinosaur imprint on this world. And I'm doing it through content creation. And I'm trying to make entertaining videos. I'm not bankroll management guy. And hopefully you could appreciate the fact that I don't lie to you. I'm just dead honest, but I do know that they're all about the strict numbers over at Oddshot, especially Greg. If I have a question about something, I go, hey, Greg, if I'm doing this X amount a week, and he'll relay the info to me. I do have an Odd Shopper premium link. It's an Area 51 link. Even if you don't click on it, it's pretty funny. Look in the description of this video. I have a custom Area 51 link that it will bring you over to Odd Shopper Premium. So if you want to sign up, I'll get some credit for it as well. And they'll be able to help you with stuff like that. I'm sorry, bankroll management, that's not my thing. I'm dealing with pirates over here. You ever watch a pirate movie and say, yeah, that guy's probably going to do well with my taxes. I'd like to get him involved. They're pirates. A pirate, a poet. You guys know that Sinatra song? That's life. My old barber, and I know this sounds ridiculous, but when I was a kid, yep, that's right. I went to an Italian. You were either going to an Italian barber or a Russian barber. In retrospect, I wish I didn't go to either of them. But the old Italian barber who can't see his hand in front of his face, yet I'm trusting him with my young guy's haircut, he would just always start singing Sinatra. And those old Italian guys, he was a old horny Italian guy, and he always wanted to let me know that he had a secret stash of Playboys in there. Yeah, this isn't fake. This is a real, this isn't a Bronx Tale or anything like that. He was cutting the back of my hair, singing Sinatra, and had to let me know that he had a secret stash of Playboys, where now I'm like, yeah, oh, by the way, if you're young, really young, it wasn't you just log on your computer and you go to any.com. You had to go get magazines. And if you needed a decoy magazine purchaser because you didn't want to buy a magazine, put it up there and have that guy look at you knowing, oh, yeah, you need the magazines. You need the magazines. So if I was buying magazines and that was still prevalent right now, if this was 1987, I would have a magazine purchasing rotation. I wouldn't go to the same spot more than once. I'd be like Dave on Barstool with his pizza eating. I'd be going to different ones all around the tri-state area so that they couldn't recognize me as a regular purchaser. Or I would send in a decoy. Yeah, that's right. I'd send in a full decoy person to make the purchases. But we're not in that era. We're in an era where everything's digital, just like all of your sports bets. So I don't know what prompted that conversation, other than my lack of ability to help you guys with bankroll management and the authenticity and honesty that I try to give you on this show. But you can click that Area 51 link. And to who's given me something for saying Nevada, as if that's the New York accent. Like, oh, yeah, it's not Nevada. You think I'm going to sit here on this show and say Nevada? There are certain words. Remember, I had to go to acting courses. I had to audition to play surfers from Southern California. I can neutralize whatever needs to be neutralized, but I sometimes make a conscious decision. Like there are certain words, like, you know, the name Larry. How about Mary? How are you going to say that? Mary. I know you. You think all you people who Marry now say that. Odds are, if you're in the majority of the US, you also said Mary, like the name. Then I'll say Mary, then you'll say, oh, that's a New York accent. I'll retort to you. Then why, when Liam Neeson, who's like a neutrally trained actor from Europe, why does he say Larry? Because Mary, Mary, and Mary, Marry, are supposed to be pronounced differently. But because the majority of the country has accepted that it's supposed to be pronounced the incorrect way, they add an I in Larry, like come into my lair. It's supposed to be Larry. And you're going to try to chalk that up to a New York accent the same way you're going to try to chalk Area 51 in Nevada. Oh, yeah? Do you like the Spanish Armada? Because it's the same kind of thing. This is why you would never want to hang out with me, because I will drag you to the deep end of the waters and have this conversation. Whatever you thought of, I don't sleep at night. People on the Patreon are like, yo, when do you sleep? The game's ended at 4. You're posting new picks at 7. You're up doing more video. How? I don't sleep because I drag these bunker arguments into the deep waters. I'll sleep when I'm dead. And you can see that it's honest because I have the bags under my eyes. What are we talking about? I don't know. I feel like one of these new freaks on all these like live streams that I don't do. What is it? What's the gaming one? I don't know. It's just turning into a weird world where who am I arguing with right now? I don't know. So how about we start to look at some of the futures that was requested of me? I may not be able to help you with bankroll management. I may not be able to help you with the way you say Larry, but I can help you with some NHL futures, which we did on the opening episode, and now we're going to do again today. Also, I will construct a ruckus same game over from the picks yesterday. But first, let's start with some futures. The future is not written in stone. How about let's start with a little division winner here. You guys know the meat and potatoes that I talked about on my Twitter. I believe it was 9 days ago or something like that. I posted a picture on this very page of the Carolina Hurricanes staring at you plus 800 to win the division with this much season left. We are not even at the halfway point of the season to get them at plus 800, a team who the majority of their core is in their prime, in their 20s, likely to be ascending and getting better as the year goes on. Compare that to the Rangers, a core predominantly in their 30s, all their top 6 forwards, for the most part, other than Lafreniere, who's kind of been thrust into that role, in their 30s. Panarin, Kreider, Zibanejad, not sure if Trocheck is, but he's right there on the cusp. All those guys in their 30s, are they likely to get better? Games 68, 72? And relax if you're a Rangers fan. I've given the Rangers plenty of times. It's just, I'm being honest. Don't think that I hate your team because I have. You see me talking well about the Islanders. They're sitting right there, like I think 3rd in the Metro. You see me tooting their horn? Not at all. I'll tell you the ones that I like. And no, there's never any biases here because when it comes to sniffing, you can't have that. That's a major hindrance. Like in the NFL, I'm a fan of 0 teams. I didn't grow up being a fan of any team, and I believe you're a fraud if you're an adult and then you just say, no, I really like the Brooklyn Nets. No, you don't. No, you don't. Being a fan of a team, it's like watching the movie A Christmas Story. Either it has a childhood tie to you where it just has that nostalgia factor so that when you watch it when you're 29, you still feel the same way. Go watch A Christmas Story for the first time at 29. If you enjoy it, you're probably in it.
2 for 2.
I don't know how I started. Oh, yeah.
3 for 3.
The Rangers are likely to play slightly worse hockey as the year goes on. And I still think the Carolina Hurricanes at plus 400 are a good price. I wonder if we go to that conference winner right next to it, next to division winner at the top, what do they have Carolina? That's also a great, like, I think they're more likely than the Bruins to get there. Rangers plus 4. I mean, they're the favorite Just to remind Ranger fans, take it easy, but just to remind you, last year, you had this same roster, plus Kane, plus Tarasenko, plus Filipino. So now you're making the point, your comeback would be, yeah, but this new coach, Laviolette has bounced around this division for years. It's not like he's some mastermind where he's changing franchises overnight. He just went to Washington, didn't win a single playoff series, and then just got left from there. He's been going around every team in the Metro. And when I watch the Rangers play, I don't see too much of a different team from last year, other than, Panarin is truly elite MVP level despite getting snubbed from the All-Star game. I do not like the Rangers to win the conference. And if you're a Rangers fan, you'll say this as an Islander fan saying, I don't care, dude. These Rangers aren't even remotely as hateable as like when I grew up. Theo Fleury doing the chicken dance, Sandy McCarthy flexing. Like these were dirt bags. Matthew Barnaby, a dirtbag Rangers. Now I like Panarin. I loved Lundqvist. I like Shesterkin. They're not hateable. I only slightly hate Kreider because I hate how excited he gets when he scores. You should be able to get excited. He's too excited. Anyway, let's go on from conference winner over to make the playoffs. To make the playoffs. And I'm going to skip anything with preposterous prices, but that's one that I wanted to talk about right there. I've been watching and examining these Devils closely. And I think my comments about them so far this year are actually kind compared to my current assessment. Like, I've mentioned that they have really bad defense. I've mentioned that they have no goaltending. And I said they try to, power their way through these games. I've been watching them play. The thought was last year, like, oh, this is a mini Colorado Avalanche. They have so much speed. They're coming at you in waves. They're always holding possession of the puck, and that is their defense, the constant possession of the puck, and teams get exhausted. It's almost like the tiki-taka Spain, where they hold the ball so long, you get so exhausted trying to chase them down, and their lines that they roll out, there's so much youth, so much skill, but my goodness, like they're not that overwhelming. If you watch these games, their offense is not like, oh my God, they're always putting teams on their heels. But they don't have Dougie Hamilton for the rest of the season, I believe. They lost Severson, the D-core, and even the guys you could say, well, now look, Hughes, the first-round pick, he's in there. Yeah, but he's the classic helping out a lot on the offensive end. He's a young kid and doesn't have any experience in the defensive end. So many liabilities. I honestly think there's a better than plus 210 chance they don't make the playoffs. I would put that at plus, if I was making this, if I was the line setter, I'd put that at plus 150. I really would. Because when I look at the teams vying for playoff spots, to sustain long winning streaks, you have to look better than the Devils currently look. And the thing is, I don't foresee structure trickling into this game. They didn't play with much structure last year. There's less structure this year, but there's not as much talent on the defensive end, and they're getting awful goaltending. So I suppose the goaltending can get a little bit better, but my goodness, I have little faith in the Devils to do much. They might get in, but with so many teams vying for those last few positions, I do not like their chances, honestly. I really do not. Another team on that list, I said this before the season, talked about the Capitals a bunch in a bunch of videos already. The core is from 2009. It's still there. And despite them playing, every team has their pretty good streaks throughout the course of the year. It's another team who doesn't play defense. If you watch that game against Boston, how many leads did they blow in that one? I'm not impressed that you blew 3 goals throughout the game and then just happened to score a goal with 5 minutes left and win like 6-5. Atrocious on defense, old on offense. I think Crosby is unbelievably filthy. Almost no drop off in his game. On superstar to the fullest. So this is not as much of the case as it is with Washington, but I see this season finishing similar to last season. They'll be close to getting to a wild card, but I think when push comes to shove and you need points and you don't have structure that you can rely on, you might lose to Chicago on your own home ice like you did last year with the playoffs on the line. So I would also take them not to make the playoffs. What is the price on Pittsburgh? If you can, where are they? There they are, right there. So it is in plus money, and that's crazy to me. To me, this should be in minus money. The sports books, analytics, there's two teams that they just love. They'll never give up on, ever. And that's the Calgary Flames. Doesn't matter if they keep, missed the playoffs last year. Just no Kachuk anymore, no Goudreau anymore. Huberdeau's an unmitigated disaster. Kadri underperforming completely. But no, let's just keep loving the Calgary Flames, and the Pittsburgh Penguins are the other one. I get it. You see the names. Oh, Malkin and Crosby and Letang and Carlson and Gensel. Yeah, they're all on the down half. I mean, it's the quarter now. They're in like the final quarter of their careers, and this is not the team you want to be betting on once you start getting into that final quarter of the season. So that's another one I'm trying to think. I think those were two that stood out to me. If you scroll up a little, let's do a quick. I'm obviously not looking at anything that is so the Flyers. Also the Capitals right there. Everybody's still impressed with their start. You think it's just me? If you want to take them to miss the playoffs, it's minus 350. So let's take Pittsburgh and Washington, two teams roughly the same amount of points, not far off from each other. So if you don't believe what I was telling you about Washington, why are those lines what they are? I think the book is pretty much shut on the case I've made about the Canes and the Caps. I almost want to close the door on that chapter. All right, so now we can move on from here. Was there anything else up at the top? Awards? You see next to futures? Let's go to the Hart Trophy. What are the No, man, this should be a McKinnon. This should be a McKinnon. It's weird. You need to tear it up, and you need the headlines to be about you. I swear to you, it's a weird thing. You need to be tearing it up, but you also need the appropriate amount of headlines. There's like some insider trading stuff where if there's enough clickable articles, like how McKinnon shoulders the burden every night, and enough people retweet it, and just that thought gets cemented in everyone's mind, I just feel like McKinnon's getting a ton of press this year. And I will say this, the guy deserves it. They're a one-line team for 2 straight years now. Landeskog, he's coming back in 2030. I don't know when he's coming back. But after that cup, and they lost Kadri to free agency, and Landeskog hasn't played since. They ended up winning the division last year, like 106 points or something. It's all McKinnon and Rantanen and Makar on that top power play. They have to shoulder the burden every single night. Couple more points. Was it 3 for McKinnon last night? Game winner in overtime. I would take him to beat out McDavid because they're also cognizant of how many each player. Like, if McDavid wins one, rightfully so. If he has a lesser year, it's like they're going to give it to somebody else because they're comparing it to the previous year. How are we going to give it to McDavid when it's like, his stats are 15% less than what he did last year? This is a McKinnon year to me as of right now. And it's unlikely to change. McKinnon's one of those guys. I mean, as long as they don't trade for other pieces who help, shoulder the load, either he's doing everything or they're not winning games. All right, there's not many games you're going to see out there where Ross Colton's winning them with 2-goal performances. Maybe that will change down the road, but I do not foresee it, especially Lehkonen isn't even playing lately. Vezina, there's only one guy for me so far this year. I call him, he's like Mr. Bronze. Every year you get a new guy who floats up in there. Last year, Sorokin was right there. Year before that, Shesterkin. Year before that, a couple, Vasilevsky, who I still want to go to war with him in a 7-game series. But every single year, if you look at the analytics, the guy who's number 2 or 3 is Hellebuck. And to me, that's more impressive than being number 1. Goalie is a very inconsistent position. You can look at these previous Vezina. Look at Markstrom. Look at Shesterkin last year. Even look at Shesterkin this year. Look at Sorokin this year. It's so hard to put back-to-back Vezina-esque performances. And then when you look at the charts, Hellebuck's there every single year. And I don't know if he's going to win this, but in my opinion, he should. Because when you look at the other names on that list, Swayman doesn't even play enough games. Cam Talbot, I think we know who he is, and I think the voters know who he is. Demko, we'll give him a run. My guess, he fades as the season goes on. To me, there's only one. There's no way Shesterkin's winning it with that star. I mean, Jonathan Quick has been better than him to this point. You cannot give it to him just based on that. And the other names, Jesus Christ. To me, this is a Hellebuck award. Plus 380. I see zero competition other than if Demko keeps it going all year. And then they do love giving the 1 year obligatory awards, but that's Hellebuck for me. You know what? We'll leave it. We'll save some futures for next time. I think that's pretty good on the futures front. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to build that Ruckus same game over parlay. I try to do that once a week. I know we've done some unders in the past, but yesterday on the video, I gave out a pick that I couldn't show the tickets for because they weren't available at the time. As I mentioned, these types of same game parlays and whatnot, they're not available when I make the daily video. I do post them to the Patreon later on, but they're not available when I make the video to show you guys because I know many times you need to see the tickets. I tell you, sniffing is believing, but some of you guys, you're a little hard-headed. You need to see to believe. I need to sniff to believe. So let's show you if you're a seeing is believing kind of guy. Let's go to same game parlay. What we did was we took the over on this. I do want to tell you something here. You guys can apply this to all future games I call Ruckus on. Somebody on the Patreon, good on you. Don't remember your name, just like that date. Brought this to my attention, and it actually is 100% true. Originally, we would take the over 6.5 on this. I'm not sure if we go up to the top. Oh, you did take that? Good stuff. And now I gave two separate ones. Let's take the crazier of the two. I gave Luke Hughes for 1 point because he's that power play defenseman who gets the free points, as I call them. So down a little bit. Right there. And now scroll down. If you're betting on either BetRivers, Ballybet, or any of these sites that have this same look, like my brother was scrolling. He said, I can't find the 2 points because he just stopped at 1 point. Keep scrolling down and then go to Connor Bedard for 2 points. Yeah, that's nice and juicy. Now show me that bet slip. Plus 750. Pretty happy with that. What was brought to my attention is if you change this 6.5 to over 5.5. So if you go up to the top and unclick 6.5 and now open the game, including overtime, and go down a little bit to total goals, drop that back to over 5. Over 5.5. Click that. Now we were at 750. That's hardly a difference. That's hardly a difference. So anytime in the future that I build same game Ruckus overs, the quote unquote, if you hear me say over 6.5, this, that, and the other, know in your head, you can 1000% / probably should drag it down to 5.5. All right. If you happened to take Chicago at plus 1.5, then I would go either all the way down to 4.5 or up to 6.5, or go right back up to the normal one, 6.5, because of the whole thing. Refer to previous conversation I had about taking money lines, puck lines, and what numbers they have to be associated with to get the maximum value out of your sniffs. So there's one same game Ruckus. Then last week I brought to your attention the FanDuel under on goals that's available. So we're going to do that with the game that we gave the under on, right? We gave the under on this Jets Anaheim same game parlay. So let's go to the top. Let's take that under 6.5, which I gave in the video. Now in the video, I gave the Ducks at plus 1.5. How about you go down, go to alternate lines? Alternate puck line. Keep going. Keep going. We're going to take Anaheim at plus 2.5. And the reason I'm choosing plus 2.5 is because I took the under 6.5. And when you're working the puck lines with the money lines, refer to previous lesson on that. If I take the plus 2.5, a 4-2 can get me through. If I took a plus 1.5 right now, and the game ended up, 4-2 or something like that, I'm losing because, or I'm sorry, if it ended up 4-3, I'm losing. I'm covering the plus 1.5, but I'm losing the under bet. So I'm going to go plus 2.5. And now the whole point of this is to show you on games that you believe will go under, you have the opportunity to take an under on player goals. Now, what I like to do, my strategy on here is take guys who are not on the top power play and not on the top line. So if we, and I'm going to do it from the Jets because they'll probably give us somewhat better prices here. Do we want to go, Alex, you want to take a second? Okay, perfect. So just looking here, actually scroll down to the power play. That would be better. So we're avoiding Perfetti, Scheifele, and can you scroll back up to the top line again? So we're avoiding Iafallo, Scheifele, Perfetti, and show me the top power play. And we're avoiding this whole top power play unit. So might not be the easiest to find them, but let's see who's available for us on FanDuel. Well, they put Neil Pionk on there. This is going to be watch this, minus 1,000. 1,200. No, we got to find something better than that. Jesus Christ. No, these are all Nino. Whoa! Great price. Anyone else? Scroll down. Ehlers has got some skill. Can you go back to the line combos? I would imagine Ehlers. I'm sorry, I don't have a good memory. Yeah, I would imagine he was on the top power play. All right, Neil Pionk it is. What's that even going to do to our same game parlay? What a name. He looks like a Neil Pionk if you've ever seen. Oh my God, get rid of that. Yeah, I don't even want to see that. No, I don't want. It's not worth it. Now hit that bet slip. Hit the music. Dun, 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 dun. Oh, Sean. Plus 154. And anything we can do to just get it a little bit more in our favor, because it's not like taking an under on player points. Scoring a goal is not even easy whatsoever. All right. Many nights in this league. Look at the Toronto Ducks game the other night. You're talking about 1 goal for the Ducks and then 2 barely for the Leafs in overtime. Now, what if you took Bertuzzi and Domi and those kind of guys? That's what we're looking for. There was a myriad of power plays for Toronto, and we're looking to avoid that top unit. Same type of thing here. We don't want to take power play guys or anything like that. But in a game we project to go under, adding an under on goals, or even if you like if you liked Carolina tonight, which I definitely do, and they play good defense, which they definitely do, you can do this exact thing with the Washington Capitals by taking an under on, some of their secondary players. I'm not going to pull that up for you because you should be smart enough to figure out how to do it now. That's your exercise. Go do it and let me know how it goes. All right. Without further ado, we will take a look at the weekend games. It is so early that we just got these. Hey, here's the line to win. We got the winners line up. This first game, not so easy in my opinion. Calgary, they're real. They're being a fighter out there. They're not giving any easy wins. Flyers, on the other hand, lost a couple times to end that road trip, blew a lead, which is not something they're supposed to do. Columbus is being a real funny team, playing scoring goals. Now they've lost a few in a row. How are we thinking about the Flyers? They're one I still hold the pause on because Tortorella, he has a history of getting a lot out of teams. This is different than Laviolette to me. He's taken some teams and really made them have some good structure, and we've seen them play tough defense, and it's stayed throughout the course of the season. Yeah, they blew the lead last time, but what? They gave up 2 and then lost via a shootout, I believe. So it's like 2 goals against is nothing to really beat yourself up about. Next, oh, wow. Man, I know I mentioned how the sports books love Calgary and they love Pittsburgh. You guys know we're fans of Colorado, especially home Colorado. But who's playing better than the Florida Panthers? How can you list the Avalanche were just minus 148? Oh, that reminds me. I'll bring it up now. I just want to quickly mention, I think Vegas to win their division is a great price right now. They can start the way they started the season, like 11-1. That can happen any day. They're currently at their low point. If the year is like, that graph, like your earnings graph, this just happens to be the low point. Like for this season, for us, this was in the fake hockey part of the year. You guys knew that first quarter of the season, that was my low. It's been, skyrocketing since the first quarter. The second quarter is, Netflix, they're trying to give me a 7-season extension. It's Cobra Kai season 9. They're trying to dig up that, the girl from Okinawa. They're digging up anyone they can to renew my show for another quarter. So here, man. All right, my first thought is great price on Florida. You should probably take Florida plus 1.5. There's a little second side of me that's like, okay, they want you to take Florida because Colorado, they're not playing so great. Didn't deserve a win against the Islanders. They outplayed them, but they were trailing all game long, 1 in overtime, trailing all game, outplayed by Dallas, 1 in Dallas. It's like they're getting the wins, but they're not playing impressive hockey. And anybody who's bet on Colorado, every bet's a roller coaster. I imagine this one wouldn't be too dissimilar. When you look at the time, I don't know. You guys know day games are a little weird to me. Sabres Penguins just found your ruckus on the night. We saw some Pittsburgh ruckus. We saw the one-way Sabres ruckus. You build your same game ruckus overs in this game. The same way we just did it with that Bedard bet with Luke Hughes earlier. Canucks Devils, this one has ruckus potential. I'm leaning towards the Canucks here. You guys know the deal. Devils playing tonight. Let's see how that game goes. But they are staying on their home ice, which I don't get scared as much. You got to check the goaltending situation. I guess it doesn't matter because they're not getting good goaltending from anyone. Also have to check the Canucks goaltending situation. But Canucks going in there, they're playing pretty well. Not impressed with what I see from the Devils. I think it's a better value to take the Canucks there. Lightning Bruins, I think the Bruins, after a loss, will get back on track with a win. Lightning did get a win anytime. Man, anytime you get shut out or pitch a shutout, I like taking unders. I might have to put that on hold for this game because the Lightning, they're a hard team to trust on the road. I don't know if I like anything in that game, actually. Wild, Blue Jackets. The Blue Jackets are the better value. The Wild are ravaged by injuries. Gustafson's on IR. They might be playing their third string goalie. And these Jackets, they're scoring and they're getting points. That looks like a spot to take the Jackets. Rangers going to Montreal. Montreal completely embarrassed on their own home ice. I don't know. Do you really want to take a road minus 225? Toronto staying out there on the West Coast. Sharks covered the plus 1.5 against the Winnipeg Jets last night. Toronto just played unbelievable back-to-back games. I know they were almost going to lose that game against the Ducks, but it's only because Dostal stood on his head all game long, had 50 or 60 saves. I would not bet against Toronto until they start playing lazy hockey again. It's eventually going to come back. Tomorrow, Carolina Blues. Depends how tonight goes. If Carolina somehow doesn't muster the result they want, I imagine. But you also have to know, man, Antti Ranta has been so bad. So we might have to take the over there. I'm hoping Ranta doesn't play tonight. That would be really upsetting. Predators Stars, leaning Stars. Isles Knights. The Isles always play tough in Vegas. Vegas is playing their worst hockey of the year by far. By far. If they lost 4 in a row, scored 1 goal last game, got shut out the game before that. Another Isles game, if you had the 5.5, it went over. If you had the 6, it pushed. I imagine they'll set this one around the same. I'll probably go over. God, do I like the Isles plus 1.5 again? I think I do. Sens versus Oilers. Oh, that's nice. End your night with some ruckus. You can go the over 6.5, guys on both sides, all that stuff. 2 Canadian teams playing. And those are the picks, the real early look for you guys on a Saturday. Thank you guys so much for coming back. If you want the assortments of tickets I'm going to put out on this game, you know where to go. You can be a minority owner, like all the Packers fans on my Patreon, where we got the chat thread, and there's a bunch of maniacs in there saying God knows what now. There's a bunch of people. They entertain each other. Sometimes I'm like, what's going on in here? But don't worry, I have a second chat that's me only, where I can update you guys with the relevant information that needs to be passed on. And also, I update the post throughout the day. And if I do that, I make sure to send notification to you guys so you know that the post has been adjusted. Doesn't mean you're going to win. Like I told you, I'm mostly about like entertainment and providing stuff. I do the best I can with the picks. If you sign up for the Patreon, it does not mean you're not saying like, oh, now I'm going to win real money because I have the tip. No, what you're doing is supporting the show. You're paying for the show. And for me to get out of the bunkers, really, to be dead honest with you. And the day you see this sponsored by, Nestle Quick is the day I'll probably stop asking for as many Patreon members. But until then, all right, guys, I'll be back with you on Monday for some Monday NHL sniffs. We also got the NFL Weird Ruckus Week 18 video. Yeah, I mean, it is. Weird starters, people resting, people chasing those incentives. It's a carnival week. Carnival week end, and then we'll be back to normal NFL picks next week, some playoff picks. All right, guys, have a good weekend. Good luck with whatever it is that you're doing. I know you'll be sniffing out something somewhere. I will talk to you after the weekend. Later.